Welcome to our virtual classroom experience. I'm Vivian Stewart, one of your librarians, and the session today will cover using advanced searching techniques to locate news articles. Now, our starting point is the library's webpage. Our address is www.southwest.tn.edu/library. Now, the topic that I will use for this demonstration is on locating health and safety issues or health or safety issues within the early childhood programs. My articles need to be within the last 3 years, and none can include any articles that deal with things that have happened in the home. So, the first thing that I want you to keep in mind is that it's always good to strategize before you actually start your searching. Try to compile a listing of search terms that you can actually use, and then that will be very helpful when we actually start the process. I also want you to know that it will be best if you decide to use the full screen option when you're viewing this video to make sure that you can see everything clearly. So we're at the library's homepage. As I scroll down, I am selecting databases because this is where you will find alternatives to using popular search engines. So on our databases page, it tells you that this is where you locate ebooks, multimedia items, journal, and magazine articles. When you are working remotely, your Southwest username and password will be required. So if you know that you're having problems with the username or the password, or if it has expired, please contact a staff member or someone at the help desk to assist you with this. I plan to show you about 5 different resources today. So if you happen to forget how to access them, but you remember the titles, you can always go to our A to Z resource page and access them from there. So if you take a look on our databases page, we have an alphabetical listing of broad headings. It starts with biography and it progresses all the way down to science. So I am starting with the category of current events. And when I expand this, you'll see we have a listing of databases, which are our paid subscriptions. And if we have located any recommended websites that we consider to be good, they will be listed here also. So now your instructor has provided you with guidelines or instructions on what they actually want. Please make sure that you follow those guidelines precisely. Do not change them in any type of way. So I know that I need to find news articles. That would include online papers, print papers, news wires, those type of things to find current information. The first place I want to go is America's News. This is our largest newspaper database. So because we're working remotely, I am required to enter my Southwest username and password. So once I'm actually logged in, I will have access to all of our databases. So let me give you some information about America's News. As I said, this is our largest newspaper database. It has over 11,000 resources, which includes online newspapers, print newspapers, college newspapers, news wires, news videos, just an array of different sources. And some are actually international sources also. I know that you possibly feel very comfortable performing keyword searches by basically typing in every term that your instructor has directed you to find on this search bar. Because I said my topic would be um, health and safety issues in early childhood education programs. So you cannot type all of those words into the search box because it would just plainly be searching for those words, not necessarily putting them in the context together. So I want to introduce you to advanced searching. I am selecting more search options. And beforehand, I did strategize by thinking of different terms that I could actually use. So the first thing it says is enter any keywords such as a name, event, or topic. And we just need to type in just the key terms, not every word. So as I click inside of my search box, I am typing in health and safety because that's the main thing, health and safety. And to save me a little time, let me simply copy this. So now over to the right-hand side, it says select a field. Now this is optional because I don't have to do this at all. But if I click on my down arrow, these are my options. So where would I like these words to appear? I am selecting headlines. I have my Boolean operator of and, but I could use and, which puts terms together, or would allow me to search for this term or another term. Not would help me to exclude terms that I don't want. So I'm leaving and there. And next, what do I need to find out? I need to find out about this when it comes to early childhood education. So let me just type in early childhood. So I know this is not a date. So if I select my down arrow, where do I want that to appear? It can appear anywhere in my article. I know that there's a date limitation, so I'm selecting the plus sign, going directly to select a field and selecting dates. Now, because I'm not sure how the dates should actually be listed, I'm simply moving my mouse over the plus sign, and I can see that I have an example for how a range of dates should actually appear. So now I'm selecting 2017 through 2020. So the next thing asks me, how do I want my information to appear? Do I want to look for the best matches? I want to look for the newest things, or I want to look for the oldest thing? So let's just leave it at newest, searching by dates and most currency. I am clicking on my search button, and I'm waiting to see just how many results I have to select from. And at this point, I have 82 results. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the results, and then we're going to go back and we're going to change this up just a little bit. So now we have our results. The titles of your articles are listed first in blue. You have your date. It gives you the name of the source and where it's located at. You may have the name of the person who wrote the article, and then you may have the reading level. In some citations, you may actually have the page that the article originally appeared. Now, keep in mind with the research, it's not something that you can just do in a couple of hours. Sometimes you have to go through several articles until you find one that you really like. So we just kind of need to use our best judgment skills. So as I am scrolling down, I see that the next four seem to be identical, or maybe the next five. If you look closely, you'll find that either they appeared on different dates or it may have appeared in, well, as I looked, they all appeared on the same date and they seem to appear in the same publication. So that's odd because usually that's not the case. It's usually it may be a different publication that actually picked it up. So as I scroll down just a little bit, let's say that I may want to look at this particular ones. So if I select it, the first thing I see is I have a preview that will actually let me just get a brief summary of the article. So if I select it by title, and not saying this is the one that I would like, but now I have the full text of this article that I could read. In addition to reading this, I can actually listen to this being read if I want to. All of our databases have tools that you can use, and as I mouse over each one, you can see what the different tools are. Now, if your instructor has asked you to provide a copy of the article, well, of course, you can easily print out a copy of this, or you can copy the link, which will allow the instructor to simply click on the link and then view a copy of the article. You may also be instructed to cite the resource. So when I click on Cite, I have the ability to export this out using one of these tools, but all of these are not free tools. And based upon what style you're supposed to write your paper in, you can select one of these styles and then it will cite it for you in that particular style. And then all you need to do is format it correctly and make sure that it's done correctly. I want to now just simply go back and let's try to change up our terms just a little bit. So this time let's do health or safety. And instead of using early childhood, we may want to use preschool, pre-K, kindergarten, child care centers, just different things like that. So let's use preschool. And we're waiting to see how many results we have. I have 3,388. Now, the main thing is because I use or, so it's pulling up articles that deal with health or safety in preschool settings. And as I said, if by chance I see one that I like, it's just a matter of me selecting it and I have the full text of that article. I'm closing this out. The next place I would like to go is to the category of education. Under education, I am using education database, but you may also want to use education full text. So as this open, we will perform an advanced search again. So I simply look over the page and I see my option for advanced search. And I'm pasting in health and safety. And I can just kind of see what my different options are in case I wanted to change up a little bit. Now, as before, where do I want this to appear? In the document title, I have my Boolean operators. So at this point, let's try Head Start. And we're just going to accept the one that capitalizes it. And where do I want this to appear? So let's try document text. Publication date is here. I need to select my range. Now you don't necessarily have to put the month and the date. I'm selecting 2017, 2020. If I wanted to, I could select just newspaper articles, but I just want you to see everything that I'm given. So now let's search. And at this point, I only have 4 results. Though remember, we can always go back and modify the searches if we want. But what I wanted you to be aware of is that even though I only got 4 results, it could be that if I simply read through one of these articles, I could get some better terms that I can actually use. So let me just select the full text of this one. And as I said, read through the article. You may come up with additional terms that you could use that will help get you to the what you're actually looking for when you are planning to find an article for this particular assignment. Because sometimes we just really aren't using the correct terms. Though remember, we can always go back and we can modify this. So this is the full text of the article. Your tools are listed across the top. I want to close this out. Remember, I said that you may want to try education full text also. Okay, let's go to the category of newspapers. So under newspapers, the first place to go will be News Gale One File. And instead of doing the advanced search, which I do have that option, let's just see what happens when we just do the keyword search. You may also want to actually put in a date range, birth through 8 years old, I believe. Okay, so remember, this is simply performing at a keyword search. So it's just searching for those terms. So let's try, because I want you to see when it comes to newspaper articles, I have 15,371. But let's just try something. I want to enclose some of these terms in quotation marks, which means they must be together. And let's search again to see if this makes a difference. Okay, so health and safety is listed together in all of our articles, and that kind of brought it down to 3,353. So when you look at your citations, you have the titles of your articles listed. You have the source that it came from. You're provided with the date. It tells you how many words is in the article. It lets you know that it is an article, and then you have your reading level. Over to the left-hand side, if I wanted to limit this by publication dates, I could simply select this, and I could just simply type in and apply. And now I'm down to 736. So let's say that I like this particular article. I simply select it. I have my tool up at the top, which will cite this for me. MLA 8th, APA 6th, Chicago 17th. I have the ability to translate this into multiple languages. I could change my font size. I can listen to this if I want to. I could actually send this to my Gmail account for my Google Drive. I could send this to the Microsoft OneDrive, use another email account, or I could download this to my USB drive if I want. So as I said before, it may be helpful to just simply read through this article to get some additional terms that I could possibly use going forward. Let's simply close this out. You may also want to use the US news stream. And when this opens up, now this looks like another publication that we have looked at before, but we still will perform our advanced search. And I just want you to see that these are the different sources that are included here. So let's perform the advanced search. I'm going to do health and safety. We want this to appear in the document title. And this time, let's try using an age range. And I'm not sure if this will work, but we're going to do birth to 8 years. And this needs to appear okay, full text. And let's not limit it by publication dates yet. I have 58. So if I forgot to limit it by publication dates, and I know that that is something I need to do, you still can do that. We would just simply come here and select enter a date range. And now we're updating this. And let's see how many articles we have. And that limited it to 4. But still, with the 4, we just may want to read the article, see if I like one of these, or if by chance it provides me with terms that I can actually use. We're closing this out. And global front, let's just try one more. So global breaking news wires. And this time, let's just try the keyword search. So we're going to paste in health and safety, but we are going to enclose it in our quotation marks. And let's see, what do we want to use this time? Let's try child care centers. And see, I could possibly use child care and daycare centers. I have 666. And just in case you didn't remember, we need to limit this by publication dates. And we're just going to update this to make sure that it actually accepts it. And as I go back up, I have 388. So this is my title, author's name, the source. It pulls a couple of sentences from there. And if I select full text, I am able to view the full text of the article, which I have here. And then my tools are across the top. Okay, so I think you should have a pretty good idea of how to perform your searches. So you will need to write a paper. So just quickly, I'm going to grammar. Under recommended websites, I want you to be aware of the Thesis Builder that will help you build a thesis statement. You simply need to populate this chart by answering these questions. And then if you select Build the Thesis, based upon what you have placed here, it will provide you with a suggested thesis statement. Now, please do not that you get from one of your sources. It needs to be your own opinions on this topic. Once you have written your first draft, you can always go to Grammarly, which is a source that will actually proof your papers for you. In order to use Grammarly, you need to create an account. So it asks you for your name. You must use your Southwest email and it asks you for a password. When you click on sign up, an email goes to your Southwest email and you have to complete the validation and wait for your welcome message. So when you have your own account, you simply copy and paste whatever you have written into Grammarly. It will proof it for grammatical errors, spelling errors, and also plagiarism. It will outline every problem that it finds, give you suggestions to how to correct the problems, and then it will then also give you a numerical grade just so you kind of have a good idea of how it feels your paper is shaping up. You also have the option to work with someone in the Academic Support Center. Whatever version you have in Grammarly, you do need to copy and paste that back down to your computer. I'm going to go back to the library's homepage and let's just do one more thing. We have a discovery service, which is called SOAR. So I'm going to paste in health and safety, and we're going to do early childhood this time. Now I'm searching. So SOAR will bring together all of our print resources and all of our electronic resources. And as you can see, I have 236,146 results. The first thing I want to do to narrow this number down is select full text online. Under content types, I know that I should only deal with newspaper articles, which I'm selecting now. And for publication date, I'm simply selecting the last 3 years. My results has come down to 26,103. So these are your results. This is your title. This is the source it came from, a couple of sentences pulled from here, and then these are your tools. Now cite, this is only citing this source. It will not cite the article. In order to cite the article, you need to select the title, wait for the article to actually appear, and go to cite here. So you may be asking, well, why didn't you show us this first? I really like for you to see how to search for information the traditional way, okay, before I show you these little shortcuts. The last thing I want you to know that in case you forget something, you can always search here to see if a librarian is online and you can chat with us here to ask us questions, or you can go to Ask a Librarian and use one of these methods in order to ask us questions. Okay, so I've shared everything I wanted to share with you concerning this assignment. I am about to stop sharing my screen. I hope that this assignment is very easy for you now that I've shown you some shortcuts of how to do advanced searching. Please reach out to us if we can be of help to you. Have a great day.